I never thought I'd be standing here today, telling you how I fell in love with the woman I married for convenience. The contract was supposed to be simple, 3 years, separate bedrooms, and a mother figure for my daughter. But Sophia Reynolds wasn't just any CEO, she was the woman who would turn our carefully constructed arrangement upside down and teach me that some rules are meant to be broken. If you're enjoying this story, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more emotional family journeys that will touch your heart. Your support means everything. The rain pounded against the windshield as I raced through traffic, my phone buzzing incessantly. Mia's school had called 3 times in the past hour. Another emergency, another reminder that I was failing as a single father. "Mr. Carter, this is the 3rd time this month you've been late," the principal said when I finally arrived, soaking wet and out of breath. My 6-year-old daughter sat in the office chair, her small legs dangling, eyes downcast. "We understand your situation, but Mia needs stability." I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. Since Rebecca died 2 years ago, I'd been drowning, working overtime at the architectural firm to keep our heads above water, missing school pickups, forgetting parent-teacher conferences. The sympathetic looks had gradually transformed into concerned frowns. "Daddy, Olivia's mom brought cupcakes for her birthday today," Mia whispered as we walked to the car. Everyone asked why I don't have a mom to bring cupcakes. Her words cut deeper than any knife. I buckled her into her car seat, my hands trembling. "I'm sorry, sweetheart. I know it's hard." That night, after tucking Mia into bed, I collapsed onto the couch, surrounded by past due bills and unanswered emails. My boss had made it clear, either I got my personal life in order, or my career advancement would stall indefinitely. The promotion I desperately needed was slipping through my fingers. My phone lit up with a text from my best friend, Marcus. "How's the world's most stressed out dad?" I called him immediately. "I'm drowning, man. The school basically threatened to report me to social services if I don't get my act together. You need help, Noah. Have you considered what we talked about?" The arrangement he'd suggested weeks ago seemed absurd then. Now, it felt like my only option. "Your cousin's friend, the one who needs the green card, is she still interested?" "Sophia?" "Yeah. Her visa expires in 3 months. She's desperate." I took a deep breath. Set up the meeting. The cafe was bustling with Saturday morning patrons when I arrived, Mia's hand clutched tightly in mine. Marcus had described Sophia Reynolds as intimidating but decent, which hadn't prepared me for the woman sitting at the corner table. She wore a crisp white blouse and tailored black pants, her dark hair falling in soft waves around her shoulders. Even seated, I could tell she was tall. When she spotted us, her expression remained neutral, calculating. "Mr. Carter," she said, extending her hand. Her voice carried the faintest hint of an accent. "And this must be Mia." Mia hid behind my leg, peering up at the stranger who might become her stepmother. "Please, call me Noah," I said, sliding into the seat across from her. "Thank you for meeting us." Sophia nodded, her emerald eyes assessing. "Marcus explained your situation. I believe we could help each other." For the next hour, as Mia colored quietly beside me, Sophia and I discussed the terms of our potential arrangement with the clinical precision of a business deal. She needed American citizenship to continue running the U.S. branch of her family's tech company. I needed a stable home life to keep my daughter and save my career. 3 years, she said. That's how long we would need to stay married for my citizenship to be secure. I would move into your home, help with Mia, present as your wife for all public appearances. In return, you sponsor my green card. And after 3 years? We divorce amicably. I'll provide a generous settlement to compensate for your trouble. I studied her face, searching for any sign of warmth or compassion. And what about Mia? She needs more than just someone going through the motions. Something flickered in Sophia's eyes, perhaps offense, perhaps understanding. Mr. Carter, Noah, I may be doing this for business reasons, but I'm not heartless. I had a stepmother once. I know what it means to need a mother figure. We would need rules, I said firmly. Boundaries. Sophia pulled out a leather portfolio and removed a typed document. I've already drafted them. Separate bedrooms. No physical relationship. Shared financial responsibilities. I maintain my career, you maintain yours. We present as a happy family to the world. As I scanned the document, Mia tugged at my sleeve. Daddy, is she going to be my new mommy? Sophia's expression softened for the first time. She leaned forward, meeting Mia at eye level. I would be like a stepmother, Mia. I can't replace your real mom, but I can be your friend. Would that be okay? Mia considered this with the serious contemplation only a 6-year-old could muster. Do you know how to braid hair? My daddy always makes it too tight. A smile, small but genuine, curved Sophia's lips. I do. And I promise never to make it too tight. 2 weeks later, we were married at the courthouse, with Marcus and his wife as witnesses. Sophia moved her essential belongings into our modest suburban home the same day. The master bedroom became hers. I relocated to the guest room. Our lives as a pretend family had begun. The first month was awkward, to say the least. Sophia worked long hours, often returning after Mia was asleep. When home, she moved through the house like a polite guest, careful not to disturb our routines. We circled each other cautiously, two strangers bound by a contract and a child, but Mia took to Sophia immediately. Children, I discovered, have an uncanny ability to see past pretenses. The first Saturday after our wedding, I woke to the sound of giggling from the kitchen. I found Sophia and Mia making pancakes, flour dusting both their faces. Daddy! Sophia's teaching me to make pancakes shaped like animals. Mia exclaimed, proudly holding up a misshapen blob that vaguely resembled a rabbit. Sophia glanced up, a hint of embarrassment coloring her cheeks. I hope we didn't wake you. Mia mentioned she's never had homemade pancakes before. No, it's nice, I said, surprised by the domestic scene. I'm not much of a cook. So I've gathered from your freezer full of microwave meals, Sophia replied, the corner of her mouth quirking up. That morning marked a subtle shift. Sophia began arriving home earlier, sometimes bringing work with her but completing it at the dining table while Mia did homework nearby. She introduced vegetables into our diet, replaced our chipped dishes with simple but elegant ones, and organized our chaotic linen closet without comment. One evening, I returned from work to find Sophia helping Mia with a school project, a family tree. My heart clenched at the sight of Rebecca's name carefully written on one of the branches. I told Mia that all families look different, Sophia explained later, after Mia was in bed. And that she's lucky because she has both a mom watching over her from heaven and a stepmom here on earth. I studied the woman sitting across from me, realizing I knew almost nothing about her beyond her professional accomplishments. Thank you for being kind to her about Rebecca. Sophia nodded, her usual composure slipping for a moment. My mother died when I was 12. My father remarried quickly, for business reasons, much like us. My stepmother made it clear I was an inconvenience. I would never do that to a child. It was the first personal detail she'd shared, a glimpse behind the carefully constructed facade. I'm sorry about your mother, I said softly. It was a long time ago. She stood abruptly, gathering her work papers. Good night, Noah. As the weeks turned to months, our choreographed dance became more natural. Sophia's presence brought structure to our previously chaotic household. Mia thrived with the consistency, homework completed before dinner, bedtime stories, clothes laid out the night before. The calls from school stopped. My boss noticed my improved focus and put me back on track for promotion. For her part, Sophia seemed to relax incrementally. I discovered she had a dry sense of humor that emerged in quiet moments. She was fiercely intelligent but impatient with inefficiency. She loved spicy food but couldn't handle sweets. Small details that humanized the businesswoman I'd married. The first time we attended a school function together, I felt a strange pride introducing her as my wife, Sophia. She charmed me as teacher and the other parents effortlessly, her hand occasionally resting on my arm in a gesture that felt surprisingly natural. "You're good at this," I commented on the drive home. "At what?" "Pretending. Being a family." Something flashed in her eyes, hurt, perhaps, before she turned to look out the window. "Yes, well. I've always been a quick study." I realized my mistake immediately. "Sophia, I didn't mean, it's fine, Noah. This is an arrangement, after all. We're both playing parts." But were we? The line between performance and reality was beginning to blur, at least for me. I found myself looking forward to our family dinners, to the quiet evenings when Mia was asleep and Sophia and I would work side by side in comfortable silence. I noticed the scent of her perfume lingering in rooms after she'd left, the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when concentrating. Dangerous thoughts for a marriage built on convenience. 6 months into our arrangement, Sophia's parents announced they were visiting from London. The panic in her eyes was unmistakable as she paced our living room. "They can't know this isn't real," she said. "My father is traditional. If he discovered I married for a green card, he would force me to return to England immediately. So we'll convince them," I assured her. "We've been convincing everyone else." Sophia shook her head. "My parents are different. They'll be staying for 2 weeks, Noah. Living in this house. Watching us. My mother notices everything." I took her hands, stilling her nervous movement. It was the first time I'd touched her beyond the occasional public display of affection. "Then we'll need to be more convincing." The night before her parents' arrival, Sophia appeared in my doorway, looking uncharacteristically vulnerable in silk pajamas. "We need to move your things into my room. They'll expect us to share a bedroom." I nodded, gathering my essentials. "I'll take the floor." "Don't be ridiculous. The bed is king-sized. We're adults." That night, lying rigid beside her in the darkness, listening to her measured breathing, I realized how much I wanted this marriage to be real. The thought terrified me. And Mrs. Reynolds arrived with an intimidating array of luggage and gifts. Mr. Reynolds was stern and evaluating, while Mrs. Reynolds was warm but observant. They doted on Mia immediately, presenting her with beautiful dresses and books. "Your daughter is delightful," Mrs. Reynolds told me in her refined British accent. "She has Sophia's determination already." I smiled, playing my part. "Yes, they're very much alike." The scrutiny was constant. Were we standing too far apart? Did we touch naturally enough? Did we know each other's habits and preferences as a real couple would? Each night, Sophia and I would collapse into bed, exhausted from the performance. "They're suspicious," she whispered on the third night. My mother asked why we don't have wedding photos displayed. "We could say we're planning a proper ceremony for our first anniversary," I suggested. Sophia turned to face me in the darkness. "That would mean more pretending, more lying. Would that be so terrible?" The question slipped out before I could stop it. She was quiet for so long I thought she'd fallen asleep. Finally, she whispered, "I don't know anymore." The next morning, Mrs. Reynolds cornered me in the kitchen while Sophia was showing her father the garden. "My daughter has always been ambitious," she said, watching me carefully. "Career first, always. We never thought she would marry, especially not an American with a child." I focused on preparing coffee. "I'm very fortunate she chose me." "Are you?" Mrs. Reynolds stepped closer. "Tell me, Mr. Carter, what made my daughter fall in love with you?" The question caught me off guard. In our careful planning, we'd never created a love story. She. I faltered. Mrs. Reynolds' expression softened. "You don't need to pretend with me. I know my daughter. And I've been watching you both. My heart sank. Mrs. Reynolds. You look at Sophia the way a man looks at his future, not his business arrangement, she said quietly. And my daughter smiles more with you and Mia than I've seen in years. Whatever brought you together, there is something real growing here. Don't waste it with pretense. Before I could respond, Sophia and her father returned. Mrs. Reynolds gave me a knowing look before turning to greet them. That evening, Mr. Reynolds announced they would be extending their stay by another week. Sophia's panic was palpable as we prepared for bed. We can't keep this up for another week, she said, pacing the bedroom. They'll figure it out. I caught her hand as she passed. Sophia, stop. Maybe we should just tell them the truth. We can't. Then maybe we need to make this more convincing. I pulled her closer, surprising both of us. Maybe we need to stop pretending that we're just pretending. Her eyes widened. What are you saying? I'm saying that somewhere between the contract signing and tonight, this stopped being just an arrangement for me. My heart hammered against my ribs. I'm saying I don't want to pretend anymore. Sophia stepped back, her professional mask slipping back into place. You're confused. We agreed to terms. Terms can change. Feelings change. Feelings complicate things, she said firmly. We have a plan, Noah. 3 years, then we both get what we want and move on. And what if what I want has changed? She turned away. Then you're breaking our agreement. I slept on the couch that night, telling her parents I had a deadline to meet. The distance between Sophia and me grew palpable over the next few days. We performed our roles mechanically, the easy companionship we developed now strained. The night before her parents were scheduled to leave, disaster struck. Mia woke with a high fever, crying for her mother, her real mother. Sophia found me in Mia's room, holding my sobbing daughter, helpless against her pain and confusion. Rebecca, Mia cried. I want Mommy Rebecca. Sophia knelt beside the bed. Mia, sweetheart, I know I'm not your mommy. But I'm here. I'm right here. To my surprise, Mia reached for Sophia, who gathered her into her arms without hesitation. It hurts, Mia whimpered. I know, little one. Sophia rocked her gently. When I was a little girl and got sick, my mother would sing to me. Would you like that? Mia nodded against her shoulder. Sophia began to sing softly, a gentle lullaby that seemed to soothe Mia immediately. I watched, transfixed, as my daughter's breathing steadied and she drifted back to sleep in Sophia's arms. Sophia continued to hold her, stroking her hair. I'll stay with her tonight, she whispered. You should rest. Sophia. Please, Noah. Let me do this. I nodded, leaving them together. In the hallway, I encountered Mrs. Reynolds, who had obviously witnessed the scene. She smiled knowingly. Not all families begin with love, Mr. Carter. But the best ones find it along the way. The next morning, I found Sophia asleep in Mia's bed, my daughter curled against her side. Something shifted in my chest, the final piece of a puzzle I hadn't known I was solving. This woman, with all her rules and boundaries, had broken through the walls around my heart without even trying. After her parents departed, promising to return soon, Sophia and I circled each other cautiously. The pretense had been stripped away, leaving us vulnerable in ways neither had anticipated. We need to talk, I said finally, when Mia was at a playdate. Sophia nodded, her composure firmly back in place. Yes, we do. I think we need to revisit our arrangement. My heart sank. You want to end it? No. No, Sophia said, meeting my gaze directly. I think we need to acknowledge that things have changed. I care for Mia more than I expected to. And you, and me? I prompted when she hesitated. You've become important to me, Noah. In ways that weren't part of our agreement. I moved closer, taking her hands in mine. I've fallen in love with you, Sophia. I didn't plan to, but I have. Tears glistened in her eyes. I've spent my entire life following plans, building walls. Then you and Mia came along and changed everything. So what do we do now? I asked softly. She pulled away slightly, her professional instincts visibly battling with her emotions. I don't know. This complicates everything. Does it have to? Noah, my career has always come first. I've never allowed myself to be vulnerable, to need someone else. It's terrifying. I nodded, understanding her fear all too well. After losing Rebecca, I'd sworn I would never open my heart again. I know. After Rebecca died, I thought that part of me was gone forever. But you brought it back to life. Sophia paced the living room, her arms wrapped around herself. What if it doesn't work? What if we try for real and fail? What happens to Mia then? Life comes with no guarantees, I said gently. But I think what we've built these past months is worth fighting for. She stopped pacing, her eyes meeting mine. I need time to think. For the next week, we moved around each other carefully. Sophia threw herself into work, coming home late, though she never missed reading Mia a bedtime story. I gave her the space she needed, even as my heart ached with uncertainty. Then one evening, I came home to find the dining room transformed. Candles flickered on the table, and the scent of something delicious filled the air. Mia was nowhere to be seen. She's having a sleepover at Marcus's house, Sophia explained, appearing in the doorway wearing a simple black dress I'd never seen before. I thought we needed an evening to talk. Over dinner, Sophia shared parts of herself she'd kept hidden. How her mother's death had left her determined never to depend on anyone. How her father's emotional distance had taught her to value achievement over connection. How terrified she was of loving Mia and me, and how impossible it now seemed to imagine life without us. I called my lawyer yesterday, she said, refilling our wine glasses. I asked him to destroy the contract. My heart skipped. What does that mean? It means I don't want a business arrangement anymore. I want a marriage, a real one. If you still want that too. I reached across the table, taking her hand. I've wanted that since the moment you taught Mia how to make animal-shaped pancakes. She laughed, the sound free and unguarded for the first time. That was the moment for me too. I looked at you both and thought, this could be mine. That night, Sophia moved her things into our bedroom, not as part of a performance, but as a beginning. We stayed up talking until dawn, planning a future neither of us had imagined possible 6 months earlier. When Mia returned home the next day, we sat her down together. Remember how Sophia and I got married to help each other? I explained carefully. Mia nodded. Like a business deal. Sophia laughed. Yes, exactly. But something unexpected happened. We fell in love for real, I said, taking Sophia's hand. And we want to be a real family, if that's okay with you. Mia's eyes widened. Does that mean Sophia's staying forever? Not just 3 years. If you'll have me, Sophia said, her voice thick with emotion. Mia launched herself into Sophia's arms. Can I call you Mom now? Not to replace my first mom, but because I have to. Sophia held her tightly, tears flowing freely. I would be honored. The transition wasn't always smooth. Sophia's company demanded much of her time, and I still struggled with guilt over moving forward after Rebecca. We argued, we compromised, we learned to navigate the complexities of a relationship that had begun as a business transaction and transformed into something profound. 6 months later, Sophia was offered a promotion that would require relocating to New York. She turned it down without consulting me, which led to our first major fight as a real couple. You can't sacrifice your career for us, I insisted. That wasn't the deal. There is no deal anymore, Noah, she countered. There's just us making decisions together. And I choose this family over any corner office. In the end, we compromised. Sophia negotiated a position that allowed her to work remotely 3 days a week, commuting to New York the other 2. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. On our first anniversary, the real one, not the date on our marriage certificate, we renewed our vows in a small ceremony by the lake. This time with genuine promises of love and commitment. As Sophia walked toward me in a simple white dress, Mia skipping ahead scattering flower petals, I marveled at how our carefully constructed arrangement had transformed into something beautifully, wonderfully real. Mrs. Reynolds, who had known all along what we were doing, whispered to me at the reception, "The best love stories are the ones that surprise us, dear." 2 years later, Sophia gave birth to our son, Thomas. As I watched Mia gently hold her baby brother, with Sophia smiling tiredly from the hospital bed, I thought about the desperate decision that had brought us here, a contract marriage that had saved us both in ways we never could have anticipated. Sometimes the most unexpected contracts lead to the most precious commitments. And sometimes, breaking all the rules is exactly what your heart needs. As for our original 3-year plan, we still joke about it sometimes, especially when Sophia officially became an American citizen. "Contract fulfilled," she teased, waving her certificate. "I suppose I could divorce you now." "Not a chance," I told her, pulling her close. "You're stuck with us forever." And as Mia and Thomas raced around the backyard of the home we'd built together, Sophia looked up at me with those emerald eyes that had once calculated the benefits of our arrangement and now held nothing but love. "Forever," she agreed, "sounds just about right."